I get an image, I ask a question, I get a very strong scene, and then the writing is about finding out what that image, scene, question is telling me, or why have I asked this question? But it usually comes from a very, very, very strong image, situation, or scene. Or I will hear a voice, or I will actually hear a voice and write down what that voice is telling me, and then I have to figure out whose voice this is, and what is it telling me, and and that will take me ultimately into story. Because asking those questions, just one question leads to another, and that ultimately is the basis of all narrative. Just asking very logical questions that evolve organically until a narrative is shaped. A lot of it for me is more and more, and as always has been, just simply following and trusting my instincts. And knowing that I can't really rest. I have to feel, I guess, haunted, and then you move from haunted to obsessed, because now it begins to take shape, and you feel you're onto something, and you start to pick up on clues. You're always listening to what your script and your characters are telling you. They really do write the story for you. It all goes back for me to Stravinsky, who talks about composition being you build something, whether it's a symphony or whether it's a screenplay or a play, you build it on the bedrock of the immediate, grounding the work in its reality, finding the world creating the world that you're writing. This is why I will have nothing to do with formulas and theories, because I truly believe that every story you tell has its own world, or is its own cosmos, with its own laws and its own logic. And so I don't bother with rules and formulas, because the rules are created by the work itself. The work tells you what the rules are. And those rules, that's why McKee is such an idiot, because how can you learn how to write Raging Bull from using Casablanca as your model? So none of that stuff makes any sense to me. I simply have learned to trust that my story, if I ground it solidly on the bedrock of the immediate, and I stay in the immediate, I stay in the now all the time, I will ultimately arrive at the finish line. No matter how long it takes, and no matter how many detours I take. But the detours are necessary, because it's only by getting it wrong that you can recognize that you got it right. Again, the basic premise is that you can only learn how to write a screenplay by writing one. Nobody can teach you how to write it. You have to write it and rewrite it and rewrite it until you nail it, until you get it right. And then you show it to some people to see, that you trust, people whose work you admire, whose intelligences you admire. And you listen to what they have to say, and you go, okay, that makes sense. Oh, no, that doesn't. Oh, wow, that gives me an idea. I didn't think of that. And slowly it begins to find its concrete shape, as again Stravinsky calls it.